Hey everyone, welcome back to our EMT review, episode 7. In this video, we're going to discuss diabetes. First, we're going to discuss normal glucose absorption by the body, then we'll discuss the various types of diabetes, and then the diabetic emergency. So first of all, in order to have normal glucose absorption by the body, of course, we consume foods that contain glucose or turn into glucose in the body, particularly carbohydrates, dairy products, fruits, and of course, obviously, refined sugars. It's broken down by the digestive system, released into the bloodstream, resulting in the glucose levels in the blood to become elevated. That stimulates the pancreas to release insulin, which serves as a key to open up the insulin receptors in the muscle and fat cells. As a result, the glucose transporter, GLUT4, carries the glucose into the cells and is used as energy. Now, in addition to that, the liver and muscle cells also store glucose in the form of glycogen for when the glucose levels in the blood are not sufficient, and will basically release it into the bloodstream to help elevate the glucose levels. Now, the body tries to maintain homeostasis and make sure that there's always a sufficient amount of glucose in the blood, so that there's always enough glucose for the brain, and also making sure, of course, that the glucose levels do not go too high. Generally, the body regulates the glucose levels roughly somewhere between 80 and 120 milligrams per deciliter, which is the means of measurement that is used in most countries. Now, when the glucose levels in the blood drop, like in between meals, and there is insufficient glucose in the blood, the pancreas will release glucagon, which will stimulate the breakdown of the stored glucose, the glycogen, to be able to release it and use it as glucose to elevate the glucose levels in the blood. Now, this is when everything is working all fine and dandy. Then we have type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is where it's an autoimmune disease where the immune system attacks the pancreas, the beta cells in the pancreas, which produce the insulin, and no longer produces insulin. The result is that there is no key to open up the locks in the cells to get the glucose into the cells, resulting, of course, in the glucose levels in the blood continuing to rise. Of course, anyone with type 1 diabetes must artificially inject insulin. Today, most people use insulin pumps. Type 2 diabetes is where the insulin receptors don't react properly to the stimulation of the insulin, known as insulin resistance. The result is decreased glucose absorption by the cells and resulting in elevated glucose levels in the bloodstream. Now, the treatment for this, first-line treatment, is diet and exercise. Diet by decreasing the amount of glucose that the body has to work with to get absorbed in the cells, and exercise, which actually helps stimulate the insulin receptors to become more responsive and sensitive to the insulin, even for hours after exercise. Actually, also during exercise, the glucose is absorbed directly by the muscle cells without the need for insulin. In addition, worthy to note, the brain cells do not require insulin for glucose absorption. Rather, it is carried in directly by particular glucose transporters, GLUT1 and 3, which do not require insulin to carry the glucose into the brain cells, and therefore it is carried in automatically without the need for insulin. I think we're going to just make another video for the next segment because I see this is really getting long. So I'm going to stop here for this video, and in the next video, we're going to discuss diabetic emergencies. That's all for today, and we'll see you in the next video.